get signed? Was it before or after the election? Who signed it, and has
the consumer engagement and love of what we're seeing, ratings, social conversation, both the volume but also the sentiment is exactly where we want to be, and so it's a springboard for sure. And at the same time, now the lessons to be learned from Paris is to say, how do we take what Paris has done that everybody is enjoying so much and translate that into what can we do as a host country differently and authentic to who we are. One organization against another. It is two organizations who both want the same thing, that are working toward the same thing, and may not always agree on the path to get there. But to be sitting in my chair today and seeing what we've been able to do for athletes from a well-being perspective, knowing where we've invested in their mental health, knowing where we've invested in their career transitions and sort of their broad well-being, and watching the performance get better, sort of makes you feel like you sit back and go, maybe we can have it all, because we're seeing it. And the hypothesis that you don't have to pick is right. And so it makes you want to double down and say, okay, now let's go grow the resources and do more, because it's not a choice, it's additive, right? Healthy human beings, mentally, socially, economically, will in fact drive performance in exactly the way we want it to.
Fraser, you mentioned that this issue came up out of the blue.
I'll summarize it in something I said in my speech. As good as
I feel 100% comfortable, largely because I understand the caliber and quality of medical personnel that were paying attention to what was going on, following guidance from whether it's the CDC or our own experiences, to ensure that we gave Noah as much flexibility in his own choices as we could. And he had every opportunity to say, I don't want to compete, I don't feel good enough to compete, or I do want to compete, and then we layer in, if you want to compete, here's what has to happen to make that safe for you and for everybody around you. And that's how we approached it. He clearly made the choice to say, I want to compete, I think I can do this. And so then you go and you start putting protocols in place to say, then we got to keep it safe for everybody. And so I feel good about it. I think it's extraordinary that he won a bronze medal when he's not 100%. He's an incredible athlete, and he wanted to show the world that. And he was willing to say, I understand that it's, I'm going to have to do things a little bit differently than I might have, out of respect both for his own health, but also for other people. I have no concerns about what happened there. We did that the right way. We now have an incredible ability to influence the health of the global movement over the next decade. 2 games, 2 organizing committees, 2 new IOC members to add to the 2 that we already have, positions us in a beautiful way internationally to really help guide and steer this movement, in addition to the influence that we've already had, right? We know the commercial world coming out of the US is driving the economics of the movement in a lot of ways. So we're nicely positioned and have accomplished all the things we've set out to do to say, okay, now we have real influence here and we got to drive this forward. WADA and USADA and the broader anti-doping topic is one of them. We have to improve the system so that athletes feel confident in the system, and the entities that need to be working together effectively are working together effectively. It is very clear to everybody that is not what's happening today. So we've got some work to do there.